Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Had a good week. I avoided the upshot. So let's recap. Tennessee -4 over Cincinnati. We had Cincinnati. Actually, I had them at 9.5. They win the game. Green Bay, Frisco. I don't trust Green Bay because Frisco had beat them in the playoffs and could run the ball on them. So I go over instead of under. I go over 41. That's my loser. Game 3, Tampa Bay and the Rams. I've got Tom Brady in 3.5, figuring it'll be a close game. Rams get way up, and Stafford tried to give it back to him. And LA wins by 3. Another winner, getting 3.5. That's where I used the point spread. Because it was 2.5 and I could get 3.5, I made a bigger bet. And Buffalo, KC only laying 1.5, should have been laying 3. I take KC in 4.5 and really was never worried. Even if they didn't score at the end, Buffalo was only up 3. So it was a winner all over the place. So let's look at the analysis. I bet Joe Burrow over Tannehill, winner. I would have played Rodgers over Garoppolo, but they run so much that I was a little bit – I thought they'd score a lot. I thought Rodgers – I don't get Rodgers in these playoffs, 10 points on the Niners. We take Mahomes over Allen, very good, and we take Brady over Stafford. Stafford tried giving it away at the end. He did fumble, but he recovered it, or that was Tampa Bay with the win. Hey, Alex, how are you? So you got your Rams money line, huh? Good for you. I would never have done that. Not mess with Tom Brady, but you got there. I don't know if you got lucky or not, but they should have killed him. But I was a little. Your buddy Cam Akers had 2 big fumbles. Well, I think because of the offensive line injuries more than anything, and they did to a point, but I didn't expect Stafford to have a good game like he did. Stafford's just a choke. But yeah, they got to Brady a little bit in the first half, but that was it. Cam Akers tried to give it away. Stafford played well he played well a little bit. Didn't really play well. Got lucky on that long pass that the secondary fell asleep twice on his Cooper Kupp passes. How do you leave Cooper Kupp alone? So Tampa's secondary played like crap. But yeah, he had a good game. For him, he had a good game, although he did. I loved him when the center snapped it and he didn't even know the ball was coming. Right after the Tampa fumble, here comes Stafford giving him the ball back. He fumbled twice, tried giving him the game, and Akers had the 2 fumbles. So, yeah, it was they let Tampa back in. Anyway, so it was I went 3-1. Green Bay game. I don't get Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. He doesn't show up. To only get 10 points. Now, the Niners defense is good, but it ain't that good. They're at home. They score 7 right away, and then that's it. Green Bay scores 7. Now, the problem with the Niners is, how did they win? They win on a block punt for a touchdown, makes it 10-10, and then they have 1 drive. So now what do you do with them? They really didn't score on Green Bay, so it's not like they have that good offense. So you're very curious what to do with the Niners. But excuse me, I'm eating. But how good Cincinnati to beat Tennessee? Now, I did warn you about Henry. He was not in game shape. They had to rest him a lot. I don't think he had 50 yards in the game. When the Rams were up, I bet Tampa live plus 14.5. I would have mortgaged my house betting. When the score was 27-3, it was 14.5. And then what are your odds? Are your odds like even money if you took Tampa and 14.5? I don't understand that live betting, but I would make a fortune doing it because Brady's going to come back and the Rams are going to sit on the ball. I mean, that's the NFL. So I don't, that's kind of new. Minus 115. So you probably bet like 20 grand on that one. If you're looking for a lock, Tampa Bay plus 14. They were down 7. So what was it when they were down 27-3, 24? You could have mortgaged your house getting Tampa Bay at 24. I don't know if it was down 17 and you were getting 14.5. See, I don't get that line. Oh, you missed that one because Brady's going to score a couple, and the Rams are all done. They're just going to sit on the ball. I'll tell you, the Kansas City Buffalo. I had KC in 4.5. I loved it because I knew they weren't going to lose at home, and even if they did, it was going to be by 3. But I didn't. Did I miss the over? Well, after last year when Buffalo scored 9 points the whole game, I was a little worried. It's the first time I'm really seeing Josh Allen because I don't see him. Buffalo, I think that was okay. Well, what I would have done if I were you was I would have trapped it. I would have played Buffalo in 7 with like Cincinnati really hard, and then I would have came back and trapped it and taken Kansas City minus 1.5. You can't lose, and then you can win both, and you would have won both because they won by 6. That was a beautiful trap game, getting Buffalo. Now, I didn't know that. Let's see. This is the first time I'm really watching Josh Allen. I think I really don't like the way he plays. His passes are good. I don't know why they run him so much. Let me put it that way. Why aren't you playing him like Mahomes, why do you want to run the guy? Right? And he takes big hits. Well, this is football. He's going to get hit by a Lawrence Taylor type, and he ain't going to wake up for a month. Or he's going to break his knee or something. Like, why would you run the guy? I don't really get their offense. Running him so much is absolutely asking for trouble. And we know he's got a big arm, but he can't handle the blitz. KC blitzed him a little, but at the end, where was KC's defense? They were just, Honey Badger was injured, so that really hurt him. I think Cincy is going to get killed by KC. They got lucky versus Tennessee, 9 sacks. Tannehill gave the game away. I think this is a great over bet. It's 54.5. It was 53.5. You're not going to stop Burrow because he's Burrow. I mean, he won the game for him. So, he's kind of like a Montana, not quite there. Mahomes is more like Montana the way he won the game, right? That's very Montana-ish. But I find that Josh Allen is not a Montana or a Brady. Burrow, I think, can be. And, they could. But I think it's an over. You're laying 7, so you either go down to 1 and say just win, and is Burrow going to have another miracle? But I'll guarantee you Kansas City, I guarantee you puts up 35. Cincy will score 14-49, gives you a W right there, but I think Cincy scores more. I agree with you. I don't know how Cincy can win. I don't think they have the defense. If Buffalo couldn't stop them, KC straight minus. If they, the key is, do you want to play the Niners or the Rams? In that side, KC, Niners. Well, the Niners have beaten the Rams 7 times in a row, and here's how you really look at it in depth. You look at the Niners just beat Aaron Rodgers, right? And he only got 10 points, and he got 7 on the first drive. And my point is, if they can stop Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they're going to stop Stafford. Plus, they just beat Stafford 27-24, and then they just beat Dallas. and they really controlled the game. And if Garoppolo doesn't have that stupid interception, and now they beat Rodgers. So just because the Rams have this good offense, the Niners defense, I think, wins them the game. Like you say, keep betting black. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't know that I could bet Frisco. If it's Frisco, KC's 7-52, what do you do? I don't know that it's hard to take the Niners in 13 against Mahomes. I think if he gets lucky, I think the Niners, what they do, they're just going to run the ball. They're going to run the receiver and my guy from Louisiana Lafayette, who I love. That's who they're gonna, and they're just gonna control the ball like they did. I agree with you. I'm taking the Niners, and you got to take Kansas City. KC's just, they're more like Cincy. If you notice NFL history and you watch all these Super Bowls in the 70s and 80s and even the 60s, the Colts lost to the Jets. I mean, the Packers weren't going to lose, but then here comes then the Colts play Dallas and Colts win. They had been there and lost, so they're mad. And then Dallas loses and they win the next time. And Miami loses to Dallas and then Miami wins. And it seems like what I'm getting at is that Cincinnati has to get there and lose before they can get there and win. They're not ready to win yet. Well, the Niners got lucky to win on a blocked punt. I mean, they ran it in down their throats and won 17-10. I would love the Rams, but the Niners won on a blocked field goal at the end of the half. And then a blocked punt. If they don't block the punt, they don't, maybe they would have tied it up at the end. They actually were completing passes. I mean, they had Kittle drop the pass wide open over the middle. Like, what do you, how do you drop that pass? The guy was open by 10 yards and he dropped it. So there was a lot of drop passes by the Niners, which I was surprised by, especially a guy like Kittle. I love their running back, their wide receiver running back. And then, of course, the kid from Lou Lafayette. I love him. But I agree. I don't. But the Niners just played the Rams and beat them, and they had really no problem with Dallas. So the question is, can the Rams – see, here's where the matchup is. As you stated properly, Brady had a hard time because they were all over him. Donald and then the Denver guy actually played, which he hasn't been playing. He's been banged up. They just showed they couldn't stop the run 2 weeks ago. The Rams needed the game and lost at home to the Niners, who needed it more. And again, that goes back to the art of war, which I preach. You the back against the wall, right? So the Niners had to win to make the playoffs. New Orleans had won. The Rams didn't need it. They were in the playoffs, and the Niners won. Now you've got almost like Alabama, Georgia, too. The difference was, Georgia really was a lot better team than Alabama. And here you have, are the Rams really a lot better than the Niners? I don't think so. I think the coaches know each other well enough to know how to kind of take control of it. I think I think you got to take the Niners. I think it's I got 3.5, 46.5. I like the under in the game because the Niners held Green Bay to 10 points and they really held Dallas to 14. They're playing Army and Navy football where they want to run the ball and play defense and chew the time off the clock. They're not going for big scores. They are not going to let Stafford have the long pass to Kupp. And I just am shocked when I see that he's still open. Like, dude, how is he not double covered? What are you, insane? You got to take him away and you got to put pressure on Stafford, which that's what they did on that long pass at the end of the game. There was supposed to be an all-out blitz because Stafford's not going to handle it. And I guess the safety didn't hear it. Somebody didn't hear it in the secondary. It was an all-out blitz and didn't cover the pass right, supposedly is what I heard. We'll see. Let's see, Alex, 4-team teaser, KC over, Frisco, and under. Yeah, I like all four. I love the KC over the best, and then I would say I like the Frisco second. I think Frisco at 9.5 again probably wins the game. Stafford, he's going to choke. They just had him. They had him at home. They had to win. They lost 27-24 in overtime. I just don't know how they're going to let Stafford just eat him up. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. I was shocked that Tampa didn't get more pressure on him with David and Pierre-Paul and Sue. What a bunch of crap, okay, with the referees. It's a fucking championship game. You call the thing on Sue was a joke because Stafford kicked him from their days on Detroit. Then you had Brady getting hit and had blood. And even if Brady yells at you, you don't throw a flag, unsportsmanlike kind of, what was that? And then David throwing his helmet off or whoever on the one, you don't call that in a playoff game. Absolutely ridiculous refereeing. Then it makes who did the game, Collinsworth. He's incredibly hard to listen to. What an idiot. He played and yet he's the refs are right. No, the refs aren't right. If you got hit like that, you'd be crying for a flag too. Don't give me this shit. So I find it extremely hard to watch. You can't watch Romo. You can't watch Collinsworth. Aikman's, the refs are right. They're going to call that every time. Bullshit. There's 100 plays they don't call it. Then they call it once when the guy goes down to the goal line. So I knew Tampa was in trouble when they get 3 of those penalties. I said, well, I know who the refs are bet on. So I thought it was going to take a miracle for Tampa to win, and they almost got it. Stafford did fumble at the end, and if the guy doesn't hit it back into his legs, Tampa's going to get it, and Brady will kick a field goal, and they'll win. And that would have been poetic justice for all the bullshit the refs did. But I can't stand when the refs do it, and then when the analysts do it, and then why is there these analysts on TV, the referees? That one interception in the Cincinnati game, the guy clearly is on the ground. I mean, now I bet Cincinnati, so of course I'm a little bit biased, but the ball gets tipped and clearly is on the ground. Should have been incomplete, and they call it a completion. Even the announcer ref said, well, if the ball's on the ground, it's got to be incomplete. So what, he doesn't know the rule? I mean, what bullshit. And that's where these games are really hard to bet when they're fixed. Brady broke my heart. No teaser, straight money line, but big dick Joe Burrow going all the way. Yeah, that's why we do teasers, Jay. If I don't do a teaser and I lose the Tampa game, I get really hard on myself because I know if I do the teaser and it wins, then I'm fine with it. So it makes it really hard when I don't make a teaser bet. Sometimes in college, I have a customer who got a FanDuel $1,000 free bet. He says, I'll give you some money if you give me it, but it's straight. It's not a lock. So I give him the Auburn under in the bowl game, which he easily wins. And I gave him the Clemson under. Both games were not in teasers, and both games won. So I got my little cut. So I can do it, but I prefer the over-unders to do it. It's just hard. Like Alex, he had Buffalo in 7.5 yesterday. He has Buffalo 1.5. He's a loser. But with the 7.5, he's a winner, and it's a much easier bet. And his probability of winning at 7.5 instead of 1.5 is huge. And that's what you really got to look at. That's where where and why you bet the teasers. This week you got KC 7 over Cincy. How comfortable are you? KC -1. They just got to win the game. Yeah, you feel it's the odds on you winning are much better, but the odds on the teaser bet are not tremendously bad. So you're probably laying, 110 to take KC -7. Maybe you're laying 115 in a teaser, Or you could do a 3-team teaser, and you should be getting odds, or even, I don't know what the odds are on a 3-team teaser anymore. I have to go back to Vegas. And that's really what you're looking at. So you can bet a 3-team teaser and get odds or even, and then your odds on winnings, KC -7 to 1, KC over 54 down to 48. The Niners +9, 9.5, 10 are much better than straight up. Yeah, Brady, I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's he wants to play another year. His wife, she likes that she's in the spotlight. The guy makes $50 million a year on endorsements. I don't think she doesn't need the money. I think I don't know what does she want to do that she can't do. She could do her modeling now. The season's over. Go model for 6 months. I mean, how is she stopping her? And how much is she really raising the family? Like you don't have nannies taking care of the kids and that. So I don't buy that. Anyway, you got to be careful with these idiot refs, and then these idiot announcers really ruin the game. But anyway, so that's what we looked at. 3-1, and really, I didn't get burned on Green Bay. I got burned on the Green Bay over, which I can't believe. See, this is the thing. Brady gets 30 points a game. What did he do yesterday? He got 27, right? It's a 57. They went over the 48. Mahomes gets a 42 in overtime, so it's 30. It's in the 30s. So that's going to be over. But Rodgers, for whatever reason, how he doesn't score more. I mean, the Niners, okay, they have a good defense. It ain't that good. I mean, the Rams got 24 on them. Dallas, they did hold to 14, I think, and then Green Bay, they hold to 10. So they do have a good defense, but it ain't that good where Rodgers can only get 10 points. And yet, and he had 7 on the first drive. So he basically gets shut out for 3 quarters. Go figure that out. But so let's respect Frisco's defense. But again, that's the difference. Rodgers has lost so many of these games to either Tampa or the Niners. It's ridiculous. That's coaching. They got out coached. I don't know. Maybe he needed to run the ball more. I watched the game, but I don't know what the Niners did. They pressure him a lot, or was it just diva? I mean, they didn't. I think they had that one. I think there's a lot of momentum shift. So it's 7-0, and they're going to make it 14, and the tight end, gets the ball punched out. And all of a sudden, the other team this is why you can't go on 4th down. You go on 4th down, you don't get it. It's not like you just don't get it. It's all momentum goes to the other team. You're screwed. And I watched Buffalo, and I really couldn't believe on 4th and 2 at their own 40 that this idiot is going for a 1st down. You've got to be freaking kidding. This is a playoff game. I don't care if Mahomes is on the side or not. You've got to punt the ball, because if you don't make it, and they barely made it, then it's okay. Then game's over right there, because I think it was 7-0 maybe at the time. You have to look at risk and reward. There was no reward by going for it at your own 39. It was only risk. The risk is you don't get it. You give them momentum. KC scores, game's over. The reward is you get the 1st down at the 41. What? It's your own 41. There's no reward. You're not going to score. You keep the ball for 3 more plays. I'm keeping the ball away from Mahomes. That's just ridiculous thought process. Hey, Nick, 10-point teaser comes through again. KC, Tampa, Frisco. Nice. Yeah, had Kansas City. So I had Kansas City in 4.5, Tampa in 3.5. Frisco in 15. That was a good pick. They look real. I had Cincy, KC, Tampa, and I lost the Frisco over, but good play. I mean that was the right. Rodgers, I don't know. He doesn't really play. I don't. In these playoff games. But anyway, so let's look at this week. We got Frisco and the Niners. Frisco and the Rams. The Rams laying 3.5, 46.5 over under. Cincy KC laying 753.5, up to 54.5 already. That line's going up, which seems like the obvious over. My rule, as everybody knows, when two good quarterbacks are playing, you bet over, which is what you had. You had it in the LA Tampa game, and you had it in the Buffalo KC game. Even though I don't love Josh Allen because I think he runs too much, he's a good he'll get you points usually. What happens in the Jacksonville? See, this is what I don't understand. How did they lose to Jacksonville and do that to Kansas City? It doesn't make any sense. How Jacksonville? I assume they just didn't let Allen run, and he can't throw the ball very well. How that receiver got so wide open so often was absolutely a joke. So people who love Kansas City and say, "Oh, they're going to win easy," did you see their secondary trying to cover the guy who got 17 touchdown passes on Buffalo? I mean, Burrow's going to eat them alive if that's the way they play the secondary. They're going to get, that's why I love the over in the game because nobody stops Mahomes. Cincinnati doesn't have the defense to, but KC's defense is horrific, especially if Honey Badger's still out. Now, he's got a concussion. I was surprised he missed the game. It's a playoff game. How can it was a little hit to the head. Should have been out there, but I would think he'd be back this week for sure. So, again, you look for that. But KC should score on this team because you got Burrow. So, Burrow and Mahomes should be high scoring. Garoppolo and Stafford, Garoppolo is not a good quarterback. They're going to run the ball. The defense looks very good. So you either take the Niners as the dog or you go under. I like both. I like the Niners. They've just beat the Rams. They've just beaten the Dallas and Green Bay. So here come the Rams again. They just beat them. They're hot against good quarter. They beat Rodgers. And not that Prescott is not in Mahomes or Rodgers' statue, but they just beat them. So the Niners, will find a way. The Rams, it's a big, different matchup than Tampa. They were trying to get to Brady. Well, Frisco's going to run the ball, Samuel and Mitchell. So it's not like you're going to put pressure on him with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. You just got to run away from him. Von Miller lines up here. I run this way. And it's a whole different animal that the Rams have. So it's a different matchup and one the Niners like. They're obviously running it down Dallas's throat. They couldn't run it against Green Bay for some reason, but they did run it against the Rams in the first game. So I look for them to run, do their running. They're not afraid. They just beat three good teams. There's no reason they can't beat the Rams. Again, Stafford choke, he tried choking yesterday, the one snap that he didn't, it's like he did that with the Lions. It's like, dude, hike the ball already. What are you doing? First of all, you're up like 14 points. Just run the ball into the line and run the clock. You don't need to be going left and right and trying to make a play. What are you doing? So I find that to be his fault. Now the center, why is the center hiking it? Who's telling him to hike it? Isn't there a signal? He raises his foot and we're going to hike the ball, especially in a noisy Tampa stadium. Where was that? Why was the guard telling him to hike it if Stafford didn't do it? So Stafford did something to get the ball hiked, and then he just went back, and then he doesn't cover it, and it goes, and Tampa recovers. At the end of the game, just before he made the big pass, he fumbled again. They knocked it out. He got lucky that the defensive guy knocked the ball into him, or that would have been a fumble. So Stafford, I don't trust to win the big game. Even though he won yesterday, he let him back in. Cam Akers with the fumbles. So look for the Niners to hang around for sure. I don't see the Rams just blowing them out. You just beat Dallas and Green Bay. I mean, give the Niners some credit. I know Garoppolo's not a great quarterback. He's okay. I don't think you're going to see Kittle dropping passes wide open over the middle like he did. So I like the Niners defense to keep them in the game, and they're on a roll, so I like them. So I think the play is the Niners and the 9.5. And you got to go over in the KC Cincy, because Cincy's going to light them up too. You're not going to stop Mahomes, but you're going to light up. You're going to, Cincy, Burrows and Chase are going to score. You're not stopping them. I'm sorry. Tennessee sacked him 9 times, and he still won the game. Okay, how often do you see that? So that was a Montana-like performance, winning the game at the end. He hit the big who did he hit? Chase or the tight end to get to the field goal. I didn't understand the coach. So you got a 50-yard kick, and you're going to run into the line for a yard and call your timeout. Like, he's that automatic from 53 yards. You don't want to do a 10-yard out or a little swing. You had timeouts to get 5 yards closer. Like, what if there's a penalty? What if there's a false start or delay a game on the field goal? Now it's 58 yards. There's no way he's going to make it. So I don't understand these refs, these coaches settling on 50-yard field goals like it's a chip shot. So I don't know. But that's what I like. Again, the Niners are hot. The Rams, to me, it's Stafford and Cooper Kupp, but I don't trust Stafford. I give him credit. He went to Tampa, but a lot of it was the refs with the bullshit penalties. And then, you just don't call those penalties in a playoff game. You're gonna flag Tom Brady because he's got blood on his chin because he got hit in the head. It's supposed to be a personal foul, and you don't call that. And what happened at the end of the first half when the guy hits Evans and there's no personal foul on that? What the hell game am I watching? Because that should have been Tampa should have got 15 yards. What do you mean it's a dead ball? It wasn't a dead ball. The fact the ball hits the ground does not make the play over. Very bad refereeing in the game. I felt they wanted the Rams to win. They didn't want Tampa. Brady must have done something where they didn't want him to win, like when the Philadelphia beat them in the Super Bowl and they just kind of laid down. So we'll see that. But I think Frisco Rams are dead even. Take the dog. KC Cincy's a little bit odds for KC. Will they be flat from the Buffalo game's a good question. I don't think you get flat going into a championship game, although the Raiders did when they played the Steelers. The 74 Raider Miami game, Raiders beat Miami in the game of the century on the Stabler little pass into the end zone at the end of the game that everybody thought was just a miracle. And then what happens the next week? They get the Steelers at home, and it's Bradshaw and Harris and Swan and Joe Green and everything, and they beat the shit out of them, and they beat them by like 14. So you could get flat. KC does beat Buffalo in a very emotional game, very similar to the Oakland-Miami game in 74. And here comes Cincinnati. But Cincinnati is not the Steelers. There's no Joe Green on the team, unfortunately. So I just find that I think Cincy's a year away. I think Cincy loses this game close, and then next year is, now they're ready. They'll get another good draft. Maybe they can sign Jefferson. Could you imagine if Cincinnati gets Jefferson from Minnesota, who played at LSU, with Chase and Burrow, and they get that lineup? Good luck. They already got Moss's kid who was on LSU. He's like on the practice squad, or he was injured or something. They let him go, and then they brought him back. So you start getting these LSU guys back with Burrow, look out, because he lit it up something awesome at LSU with these guys. So I'm just like, please get Jefferson. Then they're going to win some Super Bowls. But I think since he's a year away, their defense played well against Tennessee, but it's Tannehill, so let's not get too excited. Who did Cincy? Cincy, see, they beat Oakland, and then they beat Tennessee. So they haven't played that quarterback. Carr's okay. Tannehill stinks. Now they got Mahomes. Well, had they beaten Allen or, you've got to get that big win. The Steelers beat the Raiders, immaculate reception, gave Steelers, that was their first playoff win ever, and it gave them that. Now, even though they lost to Miami the next week, they gotten that win, and Cincinnati needs that win. And if they beat KC, that's the win they need to know, hey, we are very good. But until they get it, they're not ready for it yet. So they could beat Kansas City. They certainly have Burrow, who's freaking Joe Montana. I would take Burrow over Josh Allen any day of the week, just to put it that way. I don't like Josh Allen, the way they use him and the way they run with them and the way he doesn't slide. Everybody slides. Mahomes slides. Rodgers slides. Why the hell would you not slide, Allen? You want to get hurt, apparently, because that's what's going to happen to him eventually. Big guy's going to hurt him. So anyway, until Cincy can, and especially at KC, now it might be closer than you think. And, it's hard because they do all this on Buffalo, and so what do you think? Oh, well, they're going to score 50 points on Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense isn't that bad. Oakland got 19 and Tennessee got 16. So it's not like they're letting up 30 points a game. And it's not like Buffalo, who play the Jets, Miami, and New England. Again, 3 teams that can't score. So their defense looks better than it really is. Cincinnati plays Baltimore and Pitt and Cleveland, 3 good teams. And they just, and they were burying Baltimore. They put up 40 points on Baltimore and a lot on Pittsburgh. So keep that in mind, that Cincinnati, to put up 40 on Baltimore, especially the first game, keep that in mind. That was a big win for them. That gave them the confidence, and then Chase. And then they beat KC at home 35-31. I think you're going to see that type of score again. That was to get in to win the division. So I don't think in 3-4 weeks a lot's changed. So Cincinnati did get that win. I remember Montana in '81 when they won the Super Bowl. They had Dallas in week 5, and they were just starting to be Joe Montana and Walsh, and just starting to get good. They played the Cowboys in Dallas and beat them 54-10, and that was the win. That gave them the confidence. And then in the championship game, they had 6 turnovers, but Montana knew, and he won the game. And my point is, Cincinnati did beat Kansas City, and they did kill Baltimore twice. And I think they killed Pitt. So keep that in mind. They have won that game. They did beat Kansas City at home, and they did beat Baltimore twice by a lot. And most teams didn't, even though Lamar Jackson was out, he wasn't out in the first game, and they put up 40 points on him. So keep that in mind, please. They're not playing the Lions here, Kansas City. They're playing a team that has had some big victories. So keep that in mind. Cincinnati is a very strong dog here, very strong road dog. So keep that in mind too. They both have 22 defenses. The best defense is the Niners at 21. All the defenses are pretty much the same, although I do like the Niners defense better than the Rams. The Rams are good at passing, right, against the Brady, against the Rodgers, but you don't have that. You've got them against the running team. I am frozen. Okay, I'm back. So that's what you have. The Niners know how. They just beat the Rams. And like I said, so the Niners are very competitive in this game, and Cincinnati is a lot more competitive than you think. I don't think it's an automatic KC -1. And I know everybody's looking at the Buffalo game thinking, well, that's what's going to happen. Look what they did to Buffalo. Yeah, but Buffalo had receivers wide open. And this isn't Allen. This is Joe Burrow, who's a lot better quarterback than Allen. He's not even close. He's so much better than Allen. So keep that in mind. Maybe go to the San Diego Oakland games, and you'll see San Diego beat them in Kansas City. San Diego Kansas City games. I'm sorry. San Diego beat them in KC. The first one, the second one, I don't remember the score. I think KC beat them the second game, but that's about what you have here is San Diego, Kansas City, Cincinnati being the Herbert and Josh and Keenan Allen, and I think you have a little bit better with Cincinnati with Burrow and Chase. I think it's a little bit better. I don't like T. Higgins. He drops the ball too much. He runs out of bounds. What was that? He's going down the sidelines. He could score, and he steps out of bounds. Like, dude, take a hit, run, do something. Don't just fall. Don't just run out of bounds. What is that crap? I don't like when these guys just run out of bounds. Like, don't take a hit. You can get another 5-10 yards. Just bad running. If you're worried about your contract or business decisions, go play golf. Don't play football. Football is a physical game. You got to take the hit, and you got to know how to take the hit. That's what I see here. So definitely the Niners. Definitely, I think Cincy plays it better, but I think it's an over. This is at least a 35-31, 66. I think you're right around there. I really don't know how KC stopped Cincinnati. They couldn't stop Buffalo, and since he put up 35 on them. So I think this is another big shootout. And to protect yourself, I think you go over. See, when I don't know, and when it's, like San Francisco and Green Bay, I didn't love Green Bay because Frisco was hot and they're playing well, but I didn't trust Garoppolo. I thought Rodgers would get it done. So I just didn't play the game. I went to the total, and I thought that Rodgers would score more than 10 points. I didn't need much. I needed 41. So 21-20 or 24-20 is a winner, and they get all of 13-10. Like, Green Bay doesn't have that strong of a defense, and it was a block punt. I mean, it was insane. But anyway, so that's where I think you got to go. I think the more I'm looking at Cincinnati, the more I think it's almost an even game. And be careful taking KC -1 the more I look at it. And they just beat them, Cincinnati. I remember 35-31. So, again, I think the best way to play that game's over and play the Niners, I think, is the best way. Derek Miller, sorry, Professor. Joe Burrow is not close to Josh Allen. No, he's not. He's much better. Josh Allen's hands down better. I don't agree. I think Josh Allen, okay, he runs a lot. And if you're taking that into consideration, I understand. Did you see Joe Burrow at LSU? And did you see Josh Allen at Wyoming? I did. And Josh Allen at Wyoming lost to Air Force. He's not a winner. He did good at the end yesterday. It wasn't his fault. He brought him back, but the guys were wide open. Kansas City's defense wasn't existed. But look what Joe Burrow did to Tennessee, who's got a hell of a defense. They needed it. What did he do? He hit the guy in the out and then got him in the field goal range, and they won the game. So it's 16-16. He gets them down the field and wins the game. And that's the key point. Allen, yes, he did that. Losing was not Allen's fault. He did bring him back, but you'll see. Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen, and it's really not close. But you'll see that. I mean, Josh Allen's going to get hurt. He's going to get the way he runs. He's going to screw up his knee like Lamar Jackson did this year, and that'll be it. And Joe Burrow hurt his knee getting tackled, and he came back and he's strong. But Joe Burrow knows what he's doing before the pass. Josh Allen still has trouble with the blitz. KC shut him down. I like KC. They left the defensive end out there, and when Allen did the little run on the end, the guy was right there. So that's how you shut down Allen. So, yes, he looked good, but the defense was nowhere to be seen. I mean, that last touchdown, where was the defender falls down? You want to give Josh Allen credit? Okay, give him credit, but look what Montana did to Dwight Clark. That was a beautiful pass. He won it, right? The guy didn't fall down. He just had to lay it in there. So I'll take Burrow over Allen anytime. Burrow, I think, is the best quarterback in the league. Just watches LSU films, and he's got Chase. So that's where I'm going with that. That's why I'm saying that. Let's see what happens this week. But I like Burrow's chances. He could beat Kansas City. We'll see what happens. But I think it'll be a high-scoring game. And you'll get more respect for Burrow. I mean, didn't you like how he put 40 points on Baltimore twice, or on Pittsburgh, or beating Kansas City? You're not going to give him any credit for that. So I don't know. Josh Allen, to me, is just a running quarterback who can throw, but he can't think. He can't handle the blitz, and he wants to run too much. He's not a good quarterback. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. Little Dante Culpepper, I think. He wants to run too much. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, it was a very exciting weekend. It's very unusual that the road teams won 1, 2, 3 of the 4 games. Although Tampa almost won. If Stafford's fumble doesn't get recovered, Tampa would win. But very strange. All games are close, and that goes back to there's really not a great team. For Tampa and Green Bay to lose at home to teams like the Rams and the Niners shows you that it's pretty weak out there. The dominant teams, the Steelers, the Raiders, 49ers, Lawrence Taylor, they wouldn't lose these games at home like that. They would win those games. Very, very rarely would they lose them. And that's my point with the league. When you bet, you like to bet the best team, and then good luck finding the best team, right? In this year, you can't even count last year because of COVID. There is no best team. Who's the best team? Well, Tampa. No, apparently not. They got killed by the Rams. They got lucky to make it close, but they were down. They were down big time. Green Bay lost at home. Now, granted, they had them beat. They got a punt block. What's the punter doing? Just get the ball out. They're not moving. I think that last drive, if it was 10-3, Frisco would have tied it up because they finally started hitting passes and everything. Kittle actually woke up at that time. But I think that's what you're looking for is that style. So you really don't have that super team. So that's why it's hard. I mean, you get the Rams and the Niners. You can't say the Rams are going to win the game any more than you can say the Niners are going to win it. That's a dead even, tease the dog. And KC, so is KC the best team? Well, Cincinnati just beat them. So, I'm not sure Cincinnati is not as good as Kansas City. They certainly have the Burrow chase. Their defense certainly is playing well. Not that they're not going to shut out KC. They're not going to really contain them, but I don't think anybody can stop Hill and Kelsey, and Chocolatey Clear looked pretty good yesterday. I just think they do have too many weapons that can do it, but I think at the end of the game, Chase can, and Burrow and Chase will keep the game. They'll make big plays too, because Buffalo, it was ridiculous. They couldn't handle Buffalo. Now I'm assuming Tyrann Mathieu is going to play, and hopefully he's healthy with the concussion, which will make a big impact. To lose a guy like that definitely opened it up for Buffalo at the end. But I don't know. Yeah, I get what everybody, you can't stop that KC offense. And you're right. And KC will win the game, I believe, but it's going to be closer than you think, and it'll be high scoring for sure. So that's what will happen. So that's why I feel more comfortable betting over than KC -1, just because Cincinnati just beat them. So you got to look at it. Do you really love KC? And really, can you stop KC? Between Kelsey and Hill and everybody, it's extremely difficult to stop them, especially when the game's on the line. You think KC's going to win. And that's why you just don't understand the Super Bowl when they lost to Tampa. You think, and Tampa really shut them down. You're like, see, so if you could put pressure on Mahomes, just like Allen, just like any of these quarterbacks, you can put pressure on them. That's how you beat them. You don't let them just sit and watch. Look at Brady yesterday. He had pressure. He wasn't the same quarterback most of the game. And the same thing here. So if you can pressure Mahomes, can Cincinnati do that? I don't think so. I don't think they own that style of defense where they're going to put. Let me look at the sacks. The one stat I've been looking at are the sack totals. So if we look at it through the end of the season, I haven't updated it through the playoffs yet. Let's see. My computer's a little slow. I apologize. Oh, okay, right here. So if we look at the Cincinnati, this is funny. Overall, 283 yards passing, 103 running, 385 with 42 sacks. So they do get after the quarterback. Kansas City, 290 yards passing, only 7 more, 115, 10 more, and 405 versus 385 offense. But here's the problem. KC only with 31 sacks. So they're going to give Burrow time. And when we look at what Buffalo did, Buffalo had 42 sacks, and they got all over them. So Cincinnati had the same sacks as Baltimore. Now, let's see how this plays out. The Rams had 50 sacks. They were all over Brady. And Minnesota had 51, but they had Kirk Cousins. And Pittsburgh had 55, and that didn't affect Mahomes at all, which is what you would have thought, right? 55 sacks, you're going to get all over Mahomes. So there's no correlation to having all these sacks with having, just because you got a lot of sacks, you're Minnesota and Pittsburgh had lousy defenses. Derek, Buffalo's sidekick up the middle, burned time off the clock. Buffalo coach gave that game away. Well, absolutely. When they scored the way they scored, absolutely, you kick the ball on the ground and not into the end zone where they just where the clock wouldn't start. You basically kick it to about the 20-yard line and let KC, now KC probably would have just fallen on it, and it might have only been a second or two. So I'm not quite sure 5 or 6 seconds. I don't think KC takes the ball and tries to run back. I think KC, if the ball is squibbed, just sits on it, and that's it. And it'd only be 1 or 2 seconds off the clock. So I don't know that that's the problem. The real problem was the defense was just horrific. I mean, you let Tyreek Hill just go for the touchdown the 30 seconds earlier, and then you let the two go by to Kelsey. How is Kelsey not double teamed? I don't understand. Cooper Kupp, you double team. And I mean, you got two guys grabbing his jersey. How do you not have Kelsey? He's going to Kelsey or Hill, and just you got a double team. Let him hit Pringle. Pringle is going to drop the ball most of the time anyway. So I don't understand how Kelsey can get that wide open for 25 yards, and then it's an easy field goal. I don't like the overtime rules from the standpoint it should be sudden death, not both teams get the ball. What is that? People cry Buffalo didn't get the ball, but my point is they had the defense out there. That's part of the team is the defense. It's like the special teams. So if they block a punt for a touchdown, they didn't get the ball, but they won because they blocked the punt, that's the same thing. You've got your defense out there. It's up to the defense to stop them. There's no now it's their turn. No, this is football. There's no turns. It should be sudden death, overtime. So I have no problem with that. I don't like this. Both teams get a chance. That's bullshit. That's well. Now, okay, you kicked a field goal. Now you get your turn. Now you kick the field goal. Okay, now it'll be sudden. Well, why is it? Why isn't it? Why don't they just keep taking turns? So anytime you get the ball, the other team gets the ball, and even if you don't score and they don't score, then even if you score the next time, then they get the ball to. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. Is well, we both have to have the chance. We both have to have 15 turns with the ball to make it fair. No, bullshit. You played 4 quarters. You're in overtime. It's sudden death. First team that scores wins. That's the way it should be. Just like the extra point should be at the 2-yard line. Not that. Did you like Tennessee screwing up that play? They kicked the extra point and they jumped off sides, and so now they get the ball at the 1, and all of a sudden it's a 6-6 game. And you're going for 2 like an idiot. Again, in the playoffs, you're not getting any 2-point conversions. I mean, it's got to be a very tricky play to get it. What are you doing? And so it cost Tennessee because they would have been up 17-16, and it would have been a whole different fourth quarter because they could have run the clock out with Henry and won 17-16. Instead, it was 16-16, and they had to punt the ball back to Cincinnati. So they keep screwing around with the kicks, going for 2, which not in the playoffs. And then they even screw up with the yesterday, the Kansas City kicker can't make an extra point, misses a field goal. Yeah, the guy's killing me. I got 4.5. The guy misses an extra point where instead of being up 4, and if it's a touchdown, they win by 3. Now they're up 3 of a touchdown, they win by 5. I'm like, I'm ready to kill the guy. So fortunately, Casey got a field goal and got back up 6, I think. So anyway, I thought it was just ridiculous. These kickers can't make extra points, but the extra point should not be that far. But again, it should be sudden death. This is playoffs. You got a defense. That's part of your team. It's not just the offense having the ball. I think that's ridiculous. But anyway, the refs are horrible. The announcers are horrible. It's so hard to watch these games now. They're really screwing them up. I can't. Between Collinsworth and Romo, it's like mute. Mute. I can't do it. Derek, Tampa 2, let Cooper Kupp go down the field when Stafford was not going to run anymore. After they just fumbled was bad coaching again. Stanford went for the home run. Well, what happened on the play, Derek, is Tampa called for an all-out blitz because they know Stafford can't handle the blitz like Josh Allen. Stafford's going to fold and probably fumble or throw an interception on the blitz. That's his MO. He does that. He did it for the Lions all the time when it was a good game, like a playoff game or a big game to win the title. That's when he would choke. And so Tampa knew that. And the defense didn't get the call. So the safety didn't realize it was an all-out blitz and either let him go or didn't chuck him or whatever he was supposed to do. He didn't do it, and that's why cut wide open. But it was supposed to be an all-out blitz, unless somebody didn't blitz that was supposed to. Maybe that's what it was. But that's what happened. So it should have been the all-out blitz was the proper call, but I don't think everybody got it. So I don't think they all blitzed is the problem, because he would not have had time to throw that. But yeah, that was ridiculous. Terrible coaching, I thought. But I don't know any good coaches. I don't think what did the Rams do? Cam Akers fumbles at the goal line going in. And what does he do? He leaves Cam Akers out there instead of going to Sony Michel. And guess what? He fumbles again and gets the game tied because you got Cam Akers out there who hasn't played in 2 months. It's like Henry you should have played Henry that last week and got him game time conditioning and hits. And okay, now he kept coming out of the game. He was exhausted because you can't run stairs. You've got to play in the game. You've got to play. That gets you into game shape, and they just didn't do that. So they pay a penalty of I'm scared to get anybody hurt, and then you lose the games. So very few good coaches. I I was just happy Tampa in the 3.5, so I got the W there. But Brady came back, and that's what we pay him for. That's why we bet him, because he comes back. So anyway, this should be well. I like the Cincy KC game. The Niners and the Rams again. I'm like, really, this is Green Bay and Tampa didn't get in. I'm scratching my head with all the talent on Tampa, how they could lose to Stafford yet on the road. Stafford can't win a road game. This is the first time in he played 15 years that he won a road playoff game, or he won a game on the road against a team with a 500 record. First, he was like 0-48 on the road against teams with the 500 record. That's Stafford for you. So he's a joke. I won't trust him against the Niners, and if he wins, I won't trust him against Mahomes. But that would be a bad matchup for KC with the Rams and their pass rush. That'll definitely be a tough matchup. Either one's going to be tough because the Niners, obviously, their defense is very strong at beating Rodgers. They can beat Mahomes. So that'd be an interesting rematch, San Francisco KC, but I don't want to see that. I don't know. I want to see KC kill the Rams if it gets to that, or Cincinnati. That'd be Butte, Cincinnati, Frisco again. Although this time I think Cincinnati wins it. And the Rams, who do they play? The Rams play New England, and who do they? And they beat Tennessee. So yeah, they don't count. Anyway, Derek, you're right about Joe Burrow. Cincinnati should win. Mixon, descend defense, and Chase. KC defense is garbage. Yeah, I mean, this is my point. They made Josh Allen look like a superstar. Who's the guy that loves Josh? No, Derek, you love Josh Allen. They made him look better than he is. Where was Josh Allen against Kansas City or against Jacksonville? How did he lose to Jacksonville 10-6? This is my point. Where was Josh Allen then? There's no way Montana loses at Jacksonville 10-6. You might lose 31-30 on a Hail Mary, but he's not losing 10-6 to anybody. Only the LT Giants, and it was like a 10-10 game. And I think they won 13-10. But that's the only time when you get a defense like that, not Jacksonville's defense. So that's my problem with Josh Allen. They lost to Pittsburgh. They lost to Tennessee. They lost to Indy. Where was he in those games? So he's good against the Jets, and he's good against Miami. And he had a big game against New England. Absolutely. Where was New England? And got way out coached. Belichick, terrible in the game. But he's too inconsistent. Burrow beats Baltimore twice, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then he beats Kansas City. They had the one loss to the Jets, which I can't. I don't understand how Jacksonville and the Jets won any games against good teams. Where's Cincinnati against the Jets? Absolutely. I just said that. I don't. I think the only thing you can say, I think, was the week after they killed Baltimore, and they probably were in a letdown, figuring we just killed Baltimore. And they lost to the Jets. I don't know how anybody could lose to the Jets. Alabama, Georgia would have beat the Jets. Ohio State would beat the Jets. So it's very hard to understand that. I guess it's just a matchup, but the Jets beat Tennessee too. I mean, that's how hard the league was. I mean, I locked Tennessee over the Jets in a must win. They lose. I locked Cincinnati against the Jets. They lose. And then the Jets don't win. I think they lose to Jacksonville, and you're sitting there. This is impossible. That's the problem. That's how weak the league is. So absolutely, you're right, Derek. Cincinnati against the Jets, but look at Burrow against Baltimore, Kansas City, Pittsburgh. He showed up in all the games, and then he beat Kansas City. And that's what I'm looking at. That's why I make the comment where Josh Allen doesn't show up against Jacksonville. I mean, that and Pitt and Indy, they got blown out in a lot of those games. And you're just like, if you're that good, Josh Allen, see, probably what they did was they played his running, right? And so he tried to run outside, and they probably pinned him in, and he couldn't run. Then he had to pass to beat him, and he didn't have wide open receivers like he had against KC, and that's my point. So, yes, look at KC's defense, and it was not any better than Buffalo's defense. Both defenses sucked, I think, yesterday. And that's why I like the Niners, because they're they shut out Dallas, and then they just killed Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, okay, you don't control Aaron Rodgers to 10 points. That's ridiculous. Again, if Joe Burrow is any good, we will see. Well, I mean, we saw again at LSU. Again, that's college. We saw against Kansas City. We saw against Baltimore. So he is good. If he wins or not against Cincinnati, against Kansas City this week, I don't know, but I will, can they contain Mahomes is really the question. But they did in the first game, so we'll see. But look at Burrow last week when the game was on the line and it was tied 16 and they had to go down and to win it, he did it. He threw a couple of tough passes. And they got him down to kick the field goal to win it. So that's what I look at as a winner. And Josh Allen couldn't do that against Jacksonville. He couldn't take him down to win the game. That's what I look at. So, Burrow lost to the Jets, but he did he did blow out Baltimore twice, which nobody blows out Baltimore. As bad as Lamar Jackson is, that defense is always very strong. And to put up 40 points on that defense, you just got to give him a lot of credit. So that's all I'm saying. He's a good quarterback. I think he's better than Herbert on San Diego. We know he's better than Carr. I'd have him over Stafford. So you got Brady, you got Rodgers, Mahomes, and then I think you got Burrow and Herbert are your next group. And I don't know. It ain't Tannehill, that's for sure. Kyler Murray showed he sucks. Unbelievable. And, let's see who replaces Roethlisberger and then Prescott. See, this is the thing. Prescott's nowhere near Burrow. You think Prescott's good? He's not. Dallas has too much talent. Okay, let's do this. You put Joe Burrow on Dallas, they're in this game, right? Dallas would be playing the Rams or they would have beat the Niners. They'd be playing the Rams if Joe Burrow was on Dallas. That's how you know. If Montana went to Kansas City at the end and he beat Elway in a Monday night game, that's what he does. At Notre Dame, he would win. That's what you look at. Look at Montana at Notre Dame. You look at Burrow at LSU. He killed Georgia, Alabama, Florida, LSU, or he was on LSU. He killed Ohio State. He killed Clemson. I mean, that's what I'm looking at is what he did. That's what makes him a great quarterback. Having conversations with Nick about sports cards. So he asked me a question on a PSA 9, I think it was a Joe Burrow. It wasn't numbered. There was no number. It was like a purple refractor type of card, and it was going for a couple $1,000. I said, should I get it? I go, first of all, it's only a Mint 9, not a PSA 10. Secondly, it's not numbered. So I gave him back a Tom Brady 8 out of 10 card going for like $1,700 or $2,000. I said, this is the card you buy. It's 8 out of 10. They only made 10 of them. Tell the Bitcoin people with 21 million, here's a 10 count Brady card. PSA 10 is like 1,700 or maybe 5,000 or 6,000. I don't remember. But that's what you look at if you want to buy sports cards is the 8 out of 10. And it's numbered 10. That's all they made was 10. Or a 25 count. That's cheap. Now, I told them that I would prefer to buy it without the graded. So if I can find a 10 count Brady, I would check the card. How are the corners? How's the picture? Any scratches? I take a good look in a bright light. If it looks good and it's not a centering issue card, I would pay a lot less for it and then get it graded because I know it's a 10 because the corners are perfect, the centering, the pitcher, it looks good. It's a 10, and I put it in a hard plastic right away, as opposed to paying 5,000-6,000 for it as a 10. Those type of cards you're going to get 10s on, because they're, especially the ones that aren't really centered. I have a Brady rookie that there's no centering border on it. I think it's a Topps Chrome Refractor or a Bowman Chrome Refractor. It's a beautiful card, perfect condition. Corners are sharp, pitcher's sharp, and there's no centering to worry about. I picked it up for like $100 at a show. It's got to be worth 70, 80 grand. If it comes back at 10, which it should, because there's really no damage to it. That's what I like to do, is get those type of cards. Derek, he beat mediocre quarterback in Tannehill. Dak played well. Awful coaching professor. Dallas coach stinks. I cannot argue with you. I don't like the Dallas coach. Dak, I don't know that he played well. Again, he played the Niners, and they just dominated. Yeah, he beat Tannehill here, but I'm talking he beat Baltimore twice. He beat Mahomes 35-31 a few weeks ago. So look at the whole picture. He beat Pittsburgh, but that they're not great. But he beat Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, and I don't love Lamar Jackson. He's a running quarterback, but he beat Baltimore, and he killed Baltimore. So I look at the Baltimore wins and the Kansas City win. He beat Mahomes, and this, as you're saying, you can't take that away from him. That's all I'm saying. Yes, Tannehill's mediocre. I agree 100%. Dak is average. He's not in that class. There's a lot of awful coaching going around, Derek. Very hard to find good coaching. I don't like Green Bay's coach. Half these coaches, we'll go for 2. What are you insane? We got the ball 4th and 1. I don't like Buffalo's coach. You're going for it 4th and 1 at your own 39. Are you insane? He did it twice or 3 times. The guy's out of his mind. You're not going to – that's not a sure bet in a playoff game. Oh, my God. I can't wait till Sunday. Joe Burrow should kill that Kansas City defense. That's worse than the Baltimore Ravens. Well, yeah, I mean, Baltimore's got a good defense when healthy. Agree with you there. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I don't know how much Cincinnati can handle Mahomes. Like I said, it was 35-31. I would see the same type of score there, Derek. But just don't sell Burrow short. Take a look at the LSU Clemson playoff game. Take a look at the LSU Alabama game, and then talk to me that you don't think he's any good. Alabama's got a pro defense, as does Clemson. So watch that. And then he hasn't really, he had the Baltimore games. He won. He beat Kansas City. Give him credit for that. You just locked the total over the total. I'm sorry? Yeah, the total over. Absolutely. It's only 54. You get 48. Absolutely. That's a lot. I mean, Buffalo has a very good defense. Now, it's not as good as it seems, because they play the Jets, Miami, and New England, 3 teams that don't have a quarterback and can't score. So it makes their – so that's like New England used to with Brady. That was 6 easy wins. Here's 6 wins against teams without quarterbacks. So, of course, their defense is going to look better than it is. But absolutely – Buffalo had a good defense, and Kansas City ripped it apart, but Kansas City's defense wasn't that good. So look for Burrow. Even with all the sacks, he still got 19 points against Tennessee. And Tennessee's got a much better defense. Even though their stats, Tennessee was a 21 and KC's a 20. But it was a 30 defense that got down to 21. So Tennessee had a really strong defense, and he put it up. Absolutely, this will be a high-scoring game here. You can see at the end, if KC needs to score, they will. If Cincy needs to score, they will. And it'll if this is 3-0 at half, I'll be shocked. KC's defense is trash. It looked pretty bad yesterday. Now, again, Honey Badger will play, maybe with the concussion. So that should help. But again, it's a very difficult, it's not a very good defense. Not against this type of offense. And Buffalo doesn't have a receiver like Chase. And you can say Allen's better than Burrow. I say Burrow's better. But you still got a superstar quarterback and Chase. T. Higgins, I don't like. He's too weak. He gets the ball batted from him. He runs out of bounds. I don't like him. I like their tight ends. Mixon, I didn't think I'd like him. He's okay. Perrine, what do they get? They got all the Oklahoma running backs. Like they're any good. But you got Burrow. He's the intangible. Their defense is fairly good. But they should light it up. There's definitely an over. And that's what you look for. Two good quarterbacks, two good receivers, Hill and Chase, and two average defenses. So, yeah, absolutely. They're good defenses, but I don't think they match up well. I don't think Cincy, it was 35-31. That shows you there's really not a good matchup on either team here. And that's what I think you have. So, that's what we got. So it should be an interesting weekend, playoffs. Definitely see that. So we'll see what happens, but I think we got our picks already. The Niners, I got to check injuries, so it's not official, but looks like the Niners and 9.5 and then go over KC Cincinnati. I think the Rams should bury Jimmy G. Why do Rams have problems with Sam? Just because they run the ball. Frisco didn't beat them throwing the ball. They beat them with Mitchell and Deebo Samuel running the ball. And the Rams are a good pass defense, right? Jalen Ramsey and then Darren Miller and then Aaron Donald. You just run away from Aaron Donald, but that's why they can't beat the Niners is the Niners are going to play Army football and run it down their throats. And the Rams just don't have – they are good against Tom Brady, right? They're probably good against Aaron Rodgers. The passing teams, they're going to put pressure on you. But Frisco doesn't. They run, and then they got Kittle, so they're going to hit the tight end, which is a quick pass. That's why they have trouble. This is what I try to teach, matchups. And the matchup here, I think the Niners have won 7 straight against them. And the Niners aren't that great. It's because of the matchup. And this year to win both with Stafford shows you a lot there. And the game they needed, they beat them. They went to LA and beat them 27-24. And that's my point. So you got to respect that the Rams can't beat that the Niners beat the Rams. You got to respect that. You can't just ignore it going, oh, the Rams will win. They got Stafford and Aaron Donald. Well, they had them twice this year, and they couldn't beat them. It's just matchups. They have trouble with running teams, and there you go. That's why they beat New England twice or Tampa twice because they could get pressure on Brady. But here, you can't get pressure on Garoppolo. He's going to hand off. So it's just a running offense that they have problems with. That's why they have trouble with them. If they win, they will have a better matchup with Kansas City than anybody else because they get pressure on the quarterback. The only way to beat Kansas City is to get pressure on Mahomes or have Burrow outscore him like they did 35-31. And that's what you're looking at. So you're always looking at the matchup. You're always looking at what type of team. That's what I'm trying to teach. What type of team are these teams? What are the Niners? The Niners just beat Dallas and Green Bay. They just beat Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott, and they beat the Rams in their last 3 games. You have to understand and respect that the Rams aren't going to run away 34-0 in this game because of the Niners just beat Rodgers, and you've got to give that credit. They don't have problems with that style of team. That's my point. And so that's what you're looking at. The matchup. The Rams have problems against running teams. KC, Cincinnati, should be a high string. You don't, unless you get heavy pressure on Mahomes, he's going to eat you alive. Same with Burrow. Even with 9 sacks, he still found a way to score and win. They've been kicking a lot of field goals in the playoffs, but here I think they'll go more for they'll need touchdowns, and they know they'll need touchdowns, so you'll see a little bit different play calling here. I don't love Cincinnati's coach. I mean, he's a Nebraska quarterback. Who gets a quarterback from Nebraska? I mean, that's crazy as your coach. So I don't love that coach. I don't love Andy Reid. He choked so many times at Philadelphia, and he choked at Kansas City until he got Mahomes, where he couldn't choke, and then he still choked in the Super Bowl last year. So Andy Reid's not a very good coach. I hate how they give credit to the offensive coordinator. Okay, Tom Brady's offensive coordinator has nothing to do with Tom Brady on offense, and neither does Mahomes' offensive coordinator. They call their own plays. They know what what's open. The receiver, Hill's saying, I can beat my guy over the middle. Believe me, the offensive coordinator did not call that play. And the same thing with Brady. He knows exactly what to do. He called the plays where Fontenot ran it in for the touchdowns yesterday. He saw the defense. He said, if I hand it to Fournette, he's going to score, and that's what he did. He knew where to go with it. He didn't run Fournette up the middle where he was going to run into Aaron Donald. He ran off tackle, and the guy walked in twice. That's Brady. There's no offensive coordinator. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, hopefully we gotta find the game on the radio or something. Where we don't have to listen to Tony Romo and Troy Aikman, for God's sake. Troy, they're so bad. All of a sudden, the refs, yeah, they're the greatest. Oh yeah, I mean that's just such bullshit. It's really hard to listen to these guys. Anyway, I think it's time. I got 8 o'clock. You got 9 o'clock, probably most people. So I'm going to go swim, and that's it. So that's the review. So we hit Cincinnati, we hit Kansas City, we hit Tampa, and we lost the Green Bay over, which was shocking. Rodgers only getting 10 points, but it shows you how strong the Frisco defense is, which makes Frisco a very live dog and against the Rams, the team they beat 7 times in a row. So that's exactly what you're looking for. You bet defense in the playoffs. Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor, you generally win because that'll stop the offense. A good defense stops the offense all the time. So anyway, that's today. Please go to www.teaserking.com with any questions or comments. Like Nick has been asking me about cards and gold, investing. So I guess I'm doing well making Nick money that he's got extra money to invest. But 3-1 last week, and now here we go. The last 2 games and then the Super Bowl. So good luck, everybody. Thank you for coming to class, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, www.teaserking.com. It's the professor. Have a great night, everybody.